I look better, huh? Well, here we are, 2024, right? Hard to believe. The years Susan and I were talking about how the years just go by so fast, and especially when you have, yeah, senior in high school and a 5-year-old. I mean, I can't, it's just so crazy when they grow up so quickly. And then you've got new beginnings happening, and yeah. So I pulled out this book. I, I took this class years ago entitled The Artist's Way. And it's about a spiritual path to higher creativity. And this minister taught it, and it was just really fascinating. This book is awesome. You can get it and do it on your own, but I thought it was a really good exercise. And it's the one, the class that gave me the little nudge to maybe not watch the news so much, be not so in tune to negatives, and just gave you new ideas. And I thought that this exercise was a good one to think about. So find a nice seat and just close your eyes for a moment. Tune into your breath. And then whether you set New Year's resolutions or not, I like to call them intentions, because if you intend to do these things, it's much more likely to happen, I think, than whether you say, I will do this, and then you feel bad if you don't. So intentions, you just kind of work towards something. So these are just things to get you thinking about what you might want to do with your year. So think of 5 hobbies that sound fun. And then think of 5 classes that sound fun. We were just talking about pickleball. I'm going to go through these quickly because just see what pops into your head. Now think of 5 things that you personally would never do, but that sound fun. Now think of 5 things that would be the 5 skills that would be fun to have. And now think of 5 things that you used to enjoy doing. And lastly, list 5 or think of 5 silly things you would like to try once. Now just let go of all that and feel the possibilities and how that feels inside of you when you think of those things. It kind of feels like, wow, it's a big world out there. So much fun to have this year. Please bring hands to heart center. When you challenge yourself in new and fun ways, it makes you much more in tune to the beauty and the grace that's always surrounding you. Please lower your hands, open your eyes, and go ahead and stretch your arms up. Oh. And bring your right hand to the middle of the back, left hand to your elbow. Feel a nice stretch there. Stretch both arms up to switch. Left hand to the middle, right hand to the elbow. And stretch your arms up, bring them out to a T, bring your right arm across, and then hook with your left. Stretch out that shoulder. Oh. And then switch. And back to T. And now twist to your right. Just let your hands come. Just feel a little long side body, but stretch, twist. And come back to center and switch. And come back to center. Good. We're going to start on our back and have one block handy. And just bring your feet under your knees. Bring your arms to cactus. And you're just going to do a cat-cow on your back here. So press your low back down and maybe even your tailbone lifts the belly button towards spine. And then go the opposite direction. So just lengthen and lift. So it feels a lot more subtle here. And then just keep going. Finding those core muscles. You know how everything feels. Oh, you can even engage your glutes when you're in cat. It feels really good. One more time. And then pause and kind of find a spot in the middle. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open just to feel your hips, see how they're doing today. Good. And then bringing the knees back up. Hug your knees into your chest. And just kind of move the knees to the right side and then to the left side, just kind of keeping everything else grounded. Good. And then bringing your feet flat again. Press into your feet enough that you can lift up and bring the block under your tail for Setu Bandha on the block. And see how that feels. Just a little bit of a connection. I want you to feel long in the side body. So from your hip to your armpit, feel nice and long. Hands can support you. And then see about extending your legs long. If you can. If it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. And maybe even pointing your toes and lifting your heart. Take a few breaths there. And then bending the knees back. Lift up enough to slide the block out. Bring your tailbone back down to the mat. And then just bring your right ankle over your left thigh. And just see how that feels. And then this is going to be a little different. Use your left hand to reach over and find your right knee. And then stretch your knee towards your right shoulder. So with kind of resisting with your ankle. You'll feel it in your outer right hip. It should feel good. So both hips stay grounded. It's just an outer hip stretch. Good. And then release, open the knee again. Maybe interlace behind if that feels like a good stretch for you. And then release. And we'll switch to the other side. So left ankle over right thigh. Just feel the stretch. And then keep pressing the ankle into the thigh. Reach across with your right hand. Keep the left hip crease moving in the same plane as the right and just stretch the knee towards your right shoulder. Good. And then release. Maybe lift and interlace if that feels good. You don't have to do that if you got enough stretch where you're at. Just do that. And unwind. Grab your shins and just roll up to seated. You can roll a few times, keeping a rounded back if you want to. And come on up to all fours. Or not. And just start by making some big circles. It's kind of warming up through each joint. Wrists, shoulders, hips, knees. And switch directions if you didn't already. And then pause with a flat back. And just work through some regular cow cats. Linger if there's a spot that feels really good that you want to stretch out more. And then go ahead and pause. Curl your toes under. Make sure your knees and your heels line up, and then just walk back and sit on your heels if that works for your knees. If it doesn't, you can always tuck a blanket in behind your knees and then just do what you can. Feel that stretch. And then come forward again. Now stretch the toes long. And sit back on your heels again. Stretch your arms up if you're able to do this. And twist to your right. And then stretch your arms up and twist to the left. And stretch your arms up and walk forward again. And this time bring your hands slightly in front of your shoulders, curl your toes. Actually make your knees and feet a little wider than normal. And then lift up to a wide downward facing dog. So your hands and your feet are a little wider than they normally are. And just kind of feel how stable that is. Walk it out. Just play however you want. And then slowly walk your hands back to your feet to come to a forward fold with those wide feet. You can keep the knees bent if that works better. Everyone bend your knees to start and really feel your heels and the balls of your feet. You can always re-straighten the legs if it feels good. And then just kind of walk your hands to the left and center your belly on the left leg. And then go to the other side. So walk the hands to the right, center your belly on the right leg. And coming back to center. Take your head out. And slowly roll up to standing. Those wide feet. Stretch your arms up. And fold forward again. And come up like a pranam. And stay there, just thinking of lengthening the spine, but staying really grounded through the feet. And then bring your left hand to your hip and engage a little twist to the left. That's good. And then back to center and do the same thing. Right hand to the hip, little twist to the right. Good, and back down. Hold all the way forward. And walk your hands back out. Downward facing dog. And make your way to a plank. Just stay there, just noticing. Breathing And push back. Downward facing dog. And slowly walk your feet to your hands now. You can cross the feet and then have them about hip distance apart. If you can reach your belt, grab that. Actually, I should have had you put it at the front of your mat. I'm gonna take off a layer. And grab your belt and slowly roll up to standing. And then I'm gonna have you bring your belt in front of you. And bring your hands pretty wide. And then pull apart on the belt and stretch your arms up. Good. And then maybe bring it behind you to see what happens. Keep pulling them apart. Don't let your ribs pop out. Come back up. And just do that a couple times, just kind of exploring. Keeping the armpits hollow. And then bring the arms up. Keep pulling the belt apart and arc to your right. And come back to center and arc to your left. And back to center. Twist to your right. And back to center and twist to your left. Not to let your hips twist, just your torso and upper body. Good, come back to center. Bring the belt down and then bring it behind you. And if your shoulders are open enough, you could just interlace your hands too. But if you have the belt, let me just show you. You're gonna turn the palms towards each other. Pull out again, keep a long spine, and then fold forward to Uttanasana. I'm just gonna interlace. Couple breaths. And then release your hands. If your blocks are in reach, grab the blocks and bring them to the outside of your feet. And please step your left foot back to a deep lunge. Just feel that stretch for a moment. Bring the blocks to the higher height and maybe back a little bit. And then lift your hips up and straighten your right leg. The hip creases stay square. Getting a cramp. Notice everything's lined up. Heels, sits bones, knees. Lift the back heel a little higher if you want. Just stretch everything out and then stretch it towards the floor. And then find a spot in the middle that feels good. And then bend into your front knee. Lower your back knee. And stretch up to an Anjane Asana. touching the blocks now. Slide your hips back again with your knee grounded to a runner's lunge. You can use the blocks. Make sure everything's lined up. The hip creases are in the same plane. I like to think of drawing the right leg into the socket. And you can stretch through the toes if that feels good. Maybe fold a little deeper. Couple breaths here. And slowly come on out. Blocks back to medium. For me, it feels more stable. Lift the back knee. And then step forward. And we'll switch right foot back to deep lunge. And then using the higher height on the blocks if you need it, or straighten the left leg. Parsvottanasana. Draw your low belly up, draw your left hip crease back. You can lift the heel high. Stretch out the toes a little bit. Mine are cracking. And stretch them. Stretch the heel long. Let's do that one more time. And then find a spot where it feels even. And bend back into your front knee. Lower the back knee. And stretch up Anjane. And then moving to that runner's lunge, you can touch down, slide the hips back, straighten the left leg. Point the toes when you feel really engaged throughout the left leg. Always have to kind of make sure I'm lined up. Good. And then bending back into the front knee. Lift the back knee. And step back now to a downward facing dog. Extend the right leg. And then step it to the outside of the right block. Ground the back foot down. And then walk your blocks out to a down dog lunge. So make sure that knee's tracking straight. It should feel like a really nice inner thigh stretch. Good. And then walk the blocks back under your shoulders. Straighten your right leg and walk the blocks to the left. Turn the right foot forward. So you're turned towards this. Well, that's fine. Prasarita Padatanas. I'm not sure how you got there, but it worked too. And just fold forward. Notice your feet, all parts engaged, weight right in the middle. If it feels good to use the blocks to stay a little higher, you can. And just if you're using, I'm gonna stay on them, if you're using them, bring them forward just a little bit. Keeping the weight right in the middle of your feet. Reach your left hand under your right. Find the outer shin. A little twist here. And then unwind and switch. And then unwind. Walking back to that down dog lunge position. Turn the back heel up. Lower the back knee. See how that feels. Maybe you stay here. If you want more stretch, you can lower to your elbows. Don't even have to use the blocks if you don't want to. And then somehow unwinding, lifting the back knee, step back to that down dog position. Good job. Just enjoy a moment there. We're going to switch sides. So extend your left leg and then step it to the outside of the left block. Ground the back foot down and make your way to down dog lunge. So wherever it feels like you can really lengthen your spine, but get a good stretch on the inner thigh. That's where I want you to go. Now, keeping your right foot where it is, bring the blocks back under your shoulders and then walk them to the right. Turn the left foot forward. Yeah. Sarata Pradhanasana. If the blocks are too much, you don't have to use them. Now come up like a pranam. If you're on the blocks, perfect. Keep the weight in the middle of the feet. Keeping your right hand grounded, bring your left hand to your hip. And then just do a little twist here. And then switch. Left hand stays down, right hand to the hip. And twist. And unwind. Walk your hands back towards your left foot. Turn the back heel up. Deep lunge. And step back. Downward facing dog. Lower your knees for a moment and set the blocks off to the side. And then just come down to your bellies. Hands by your chest. Stretch your feet long, maybe a little wider than hip distance. Lengthen the back of your neck and then lift up to cobra. Just take a few breaths, just thinking I want to lengthen everything out. And lower back down. And push all the way back to a child's pose. And then making your way to all fours. If you want to use the blocks again, grab them under your hands and come on up to downward facing dog. And then slowly walk your feet up between the blocks to a forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. And inhale, sweep all the way up. We get all the major groups, get them stretched out. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. And fold. Just so you know, my intention is always to help you to feel better in your body and to get it stronger so that you can do what you want to do no matter what, whatever you set your mind to. And step your right foot back, deep lunge. Lower the back knee and stretch up to Anjane Asana. Feel that hugging in so that you feel stable here. Bring hands to heart center. Maybe draw the rib cage back a little more. Twist to your left. Bring the right elbow on the knee or to the outer knee. A little twist. Keeping the left hip crease back. Pressing the left hand into the right. Lengthening through the top of your head. Good, and unwind. Lift the back knee. Step back to downward facing dog. I'm gonna let the blocks off to the side so I can do vinyasa. If you want to take child's pose instead, you can. Inhale to plank. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale down. Downward facing dog. Grabbing the blocks if that works. Extend the right leg. And then bringing the knee towards your nose. Feels more like plank here, and then step it through to a deep lunge. Good job. Nice. Lower the back knee. Being mindful, stretch up Anjane. Hands to heart center. I always have to lengthen back the ribs back and then twist. Right hip crease stays back. Good, unwind. Touch down, lift the back knee and step forward to forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep and rise. Exhale, hands through heart center. And then keep going. Stretch the arms up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. And fold. This time, step the left foot back first to deep lunge. And make sure that your feet are in a good position to hold you. Bring your hands to your front thigh. and lift to crescent warrior. Now, if you don't feel stable here, it's okay to lower the back knee. We're stretching up to crescent warrior. Right hip crease stays back. Back heel and leg very engaged. Bring hands to heart center and engage that twist, keeping everything really strong and stable. Good. One more breath. Come back to center, touch the blocks. Very good. Step back, downward facing dog. Extend the left leg. Bring knee to nose to step it through. If you're stable, hands to the front knee. Lift crescent warrior. Left hip crease stays back. That's going to keep you stable. Draw your low belly up. Hands to heart center. Twist to your left. It's better for you to stay more upright. Feel free. Notice the back leg, how it keeps you stable. That's it. Ooh. And unwind. Touch down. And step forward. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Hands through heart center. Close your eyes for a moment. Pause there. Your intention should be to learn about your physical body and your mental body and feel good. So inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold. Turn the blocks to a higher height and step the right foot back just about 2.5, 3 feet to and straighten the left leg to that position so you can feel the heels right in line with your sits bones. And then you did this earlier with the heel lifted. I want you to feel strong with the heel lowered and feel really strong in both heels and fold. And now come up to a pranam. See if the block isn't right under your shoulder. Stay there, bring your left hand to your hip. Keep the weight in both feet more than in your hand and twist to your left. Maybe extend the arm if it's feeling connected. And then touch down. Good job. Set the blocks off to the side, bend the front knee and step back to down, all the way to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Downward facing dog, preferably on the blocks. And step your feet to your hands. And then step your left foot back to just to that spot where you can ground the heel down. keeping everything lined up, bones and heels. Notice if the left block is right under the left shoulder. Keep super strong in both feet, right hand to the hip, and twist. Extend the arm if that feels good for you. Don't have to. Stay grounded through that back foot. Good, and touch down. Nice, guys. Step back, downward dog. And go ahead and lower your knees. And set your blocks off to the side. And then take a child's pose. And just stack your hands under your forehead. When I had you do those exercises at the beginning of class, to me, it's surprising what pops into your head that you don't think is anything you've ever thought of doing before. It's kind of fun to think in new ways. And come on up. Come to a seated position. And just stretch your right leg out and bend your left knee. Yeah, and just keep both legs stretched. Yeah, yeah. And then just see, do you feel like you're on your sits bones? I always have to maybe inner spiral. I'm really on the sits bone and pull that right leg into the socket more. Good, and then just bring your forearm on top of your right leg. Stretch your left arm up. Just come into a little Janu Shirshasana stretch. If it doesn't feel deep enough, you can always bring the elbow to the inside. And back up. And switch. Really good. We haven't done that for a while. So wherever it feels good to you, if your elbow comes down, maybe you can grab your big toe and then turn your belly and chest inward, and then maybe stretch up and over. I'm always thinking sits bones stay grounded and back. Right leg stays in the socket. It's a deep stretch on the side body. Perfect. Come on, back up. Stretch both legs out in front of you now. Again, pull the legs into the sockets. Feel like kneecaps and toes point up. Activate the legs if you need to. Make sure you have a little baby bend in your knees. Stretch your arms up and fold forward. You can place your hands wherever feels like a good stretch. Trying to keep the sits bones grounded and back, attempting to keep that natural curve in your low back. Paschimottanasana. come up a little bit like a pranam and bring your right hand across to your left shin and then just come into a little twist here. Feels different with the floor supporting you. And then switch. You don't have to extend the arm, just kind of notice. If you're open enough, you can do little toe side of the foot as well. Maybe down the arm. Good. And then unwind. And then come on up. And go ahead and transition to your back. And just do a few windshield wipers. Feet are wide. Just make little diamond shapes with your legs. And bringing the knees up, hug both the knees in and bring them wide. And lift the feet up. Come into a happy baby pose. And this is going to be a little bit weird. You're going to bend your left foot towards your right inner thigh and straighten your right leg. I call this Peter Pan. It feels kind of nice. Good. And then come back to center and switch. Try and keep a little curve in your low back. So the left leg extends, right foot comes towards the left inner thigh. And just do that a few times each side. Oh, that's the spot. Good. And then release, bring feet to the ground. And stretch out for Shavasana. Just take your time, kind of noticing your back, your shoulders, and everything lined up for yourself. And settle in. Feels like a new breath today for the new year. especially when you really notice prana moving in and out. You continue to relax. I just wanted to share a blessing from Julia Cameron's other book that I have is called just a book of blessings. I open myself to the freedom of change. I bless the changes which come to me. Trusting in change, I relax my grip on the contours of my life. I allow new beginnings. I allow alteration, accommodation, change. I invite the interaction of imagination and possibility. I surrender agendas, outlines, plots, recognizing that life is both active and interactive. I hold out my hand to dance, knowing that I am partnered more variably and creatively than I can yet conceive. I bless the changeable creativity of life in its unfolding. Beginning to notice your breath again. Feel the coolness of the inhalation, stimulating breath. Start to move when you're ready. Push on up to seated. Take your time. Bring hands to heart center. I'm so happy that you guys are part of my life. I really appreciate it. I look forward to this new year with all of you. Namaste. You feel okay?